Hello and welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. We have reached episode 859. This is being recorded on March 4, 2026. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
And I'm Kent Burgess.
And despite all of the peer pressure, Josh is refusing to drink tonight.
I sleep better. I don't snore. When I don't drink, I do snore.
Interesting.
When I drink. Yeah, so there.
Nice.
You know, I don't understand the need. I've never been a drinker in my entire life. And, you know, all I have to show for it are depression, chronic anxiety, and sleep disorders.
Yeah.
You could have that and be drunk too.
Right.
Yeah.
You just never know until you
It could
try
make
it.
all those things even worse. That's the best part.
You can go to patreon.com and help keep the lights on. Brett needed that tonight. He had a power outage, but he might come. He might show up later. We'll have to see. But we want to thank some special patrons. JVW, Instant Cassette, and A Terrible Cook. You three know who you are.
The thing about the Terrible Cook is he paid extra for private thoughts from Josh Walrath. Terrible Cook. Do you always eat out? Do you have a specialty? Is there something, that one thing, didn't you make really, really, really well? Or is it just the arch for you? I don't know these things. I don't know much. In fact, the older I get, the less I know. They say that God provides wisdom to us, but unfortunately, wisdom comes in the form of hard lessons. And lately, I asked God, hold back on the hard lessons, please. I think I'm full up on wisdom. So there you go, Mr. What was his name again? Not hard thinking. Bad
Terrible Cook.
The Terrible Cook. Thank you.
All right, Josh, please raise our spirits with your burger of the week, which I'm sure is some never before seen specialty at Born in a Barn.
Nobody.
Right?
This is, well, it was because it's never been seen in Born in the Barn because they were closed today. Apparently, they're closed now Monday through Wednesday for the next couple of months until summertime. So that makes Wednesdays kind of tough, but they're doing some remodeling, they're doing some deep cleaning, they're repairing things and maintenance and all those things.
Didn't they just do that to you?
I probably, but I don't know what to tell you. But you know what? That was not one of the hardships. We can get around that. There are other burger places. In fact, I went to one that has made some waves as of late, that I too decided to explore the arch, the big arch. Yes, it's many viral things about the CEO taking an absolutely small bite of the big arch and saying, "Oh, that's so rich, it's so filling." Well, I had to get one. I had to see what the fuss was all about. And you know what? It wasn't bad. Wasn't bad at all. I mean, for McDonald's food, I mean, it's, a Big Mac, it's an enjoyable experience. It's not anything that, you crave when you just want some really crappy food, right? But the Big Arch is actually kind of tasty. They've got those bigger quarter-pound patties, so it's like half pound of meat in that thing. It's some, or is it a third? I can't remember. But anyway.
Well, no, because everyone thought a third was smaller, so they didn't.
Yeah. So it's a quarter pounder, 2 quarter pound. And, all the sauces and everything, good. The slivered onions, lettuce, they had the crispy onions, so it gave it some texture as well. And then the 3 slices of white cheddar. It was pretty good. I mean, the biggest problem with it is the combo is like $12, which that's a lot of money for a McDonald's meal. But you know what? I had to get it. I had to see what the fuss was about, and it wasn't bad. So yeah, go out and enjoy a Big Arch. Try one. Just don't try too many.
Shall we move to the news portion of our podcast? and in no particular order, as is tradition here at the podcast, a story about drivers. Now, drivers are hard, as Josh has pointed out many times, especially when Intel was having their issues with ARC. But you'd think NVIDIA, with their trillions, would be able to make a driver, especially one that somehow passed Windows Hardware Quality Labs certification. So who's to blame here? They had a WCL driver that they had to pull because of issues with it. So they were telling everybody to go back to the previous version. So from 595.59 back to 591.86. Then they updated it to 59571 WCL. So I had to update my post only minutes after finally getting to the post. And then there was this link, but it didn't go anywhere. It just came to this something went wrong screen. By the end of the morning, you could actually download it. But they've already had to issue a hot fix. So now 595.76 is fixing game crashes. There's a voltage cap. People with overclocked cards were seeing a limit on performance that was obviously incorrect. So just their driver woes just continue for the second week in a row. Somebody in the chat pointed out it's a little vibe coding. Do you think that they're using one of their powerful LLMs to write their drivers now?
Wouldn't be shocking. Well, they call it a tool. It's a driver tool.
It's an enhancement. It's an extension. It's just don't call it AI because that upsets everyone except the investors.
Yeah.
Well, they love it.
I'm really beginning to think that Frank Herbert had it right when he wrote the law in Dune that against the creation of a machine that resembles a human mind. Because, the more AI code we get, the more just keeps breaking.
And there's only one thing to do. It is travel back in time to a simpler era where we had seemingly dozens of different vendors, all with their own unique chipsets and sometimes even their own APIs. It was the Wild West. Do you remember number 9?
I do. Yeah, they were a high-end graphics card company that those models were very, very, very expensive.
Yeah.
And especially on the Apple side, that they were kind of the preferred, if I remember correctly.
But why would I be talking about number 9 in 2026? Could it be because NVIDIA is rumored to be planning a GeForce RTX 5050 with 9 gigabytes of memory on a 96-bit bus? This could be the breakthrough GPU product of 2026. It's 1 gigabyte more for you gamers out there who need it, who desperately need it.
Never mind the 96-bit bus.
Well, that's a lot of bits, Josh.
They overclock it, so yeah. It's 28 gigabit.
So the current bus is 128-bit. But we all know that 8 gigabytes isn't enough for gaming anymore. Actually, look at this. The technology is said to be GDDR7. So even on a narrower bus, it has slightly more memory bandwidth because it's faster.
9.
That's amazing.
First, you complained about us adding an extra 2 gigabytes of not real RAM. Well, now we're going to purposely add a gigabyte of real VRAM.
Francois in the chat.
1.5.
Francois in the chat says 9 is number 2.
It's weak if this is true. But I can see them doing this to try to address a need because the prices are insane.
They could call this 10 gigabyte class because it's 9, but then you could throw in some like memory compression and call it 10 class on the box somewhere in small print. It worked for the 970? Which one had like a 1 point?
It was the 970.
The little memory partition.
Yeah, but it was 3.5 gigabytes.
Yeah,
extra
right. That's right. The last
500
half gig was.
Oh, sorry, it was 3.
Yeah.
And
so they asked, how do they get?
Upset.
They asked, how do they get to 9? It's with 3 chips that GDDR7 comes in 3 gigabyte. Yeah.
I want something really screwed up 27 gigabyte version, because that's just going to ruin everything.
I'd take it.
Hey, it's cheaper
11
than 30.
11 gigabytes was really good for a really long time. The legendary 1080 Ti. Some of our viewers are probably actually using a 1080 Ti right now.
Yeah.
And I refuse to pronounce it Ti.
How do you go with the vanilla 1080? Couldn't afford those TIs.
All right, well, Brett is not here, but we will still push ahead to the next news story, all about Apple, who had a lot to say. In their newsroom today, we have news of the new MacBook Neo. Before the podcast, I believe you offered some commentary on this, Kent.
Yes, it seems that Apple has invented the netbook.
What does this powerhouse have under the hood? Is it a terabyte SSD, maybe like 16 to 32 gigabytes of RAM? Right?
For the low price of $599, you get an 8 gigs of RAM and a 256 gigabyte SSD. For $699, you can get a 512.
Does the RAM go up to 16 gigs?
No.
It's essentially a cell phone chip with the memory soldered on top of the chip itself.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, seamless integration. With
seamless
iPhone.
integration with iPhone, because it is an iPhone.
It's an iPhone
with a
very large screen and a keyboard. Yeah. Hey, a friend of mine is going through a bunch of her dad's things. I think he recently passed, and she was going through and she found some original Apple stickers.
Nice.
Do you want
them? I think Brett probably does.
I'm wondering. I was going to offer these up, but he was not here.
Oh.
So, yeah. Bend back and peel.
Yeah, that's it. Throw him out. He's not here.
Okay. Yeah. Too bad. Sorry, Brett.
Burn him.
I'll make a video.
Apple
feed him to the dog and send it back to your kid.
Or feed him to the dog. Then the dog can, process them and then send.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And send
with the rainbow colors. But with the rainbow colors on there, I bet the dog's poo would look interesting.
Yes, that's
all right. Well, there was more from Apple, and among those stories includes a press release about something called the M5 Pro and M5 Max. They want to supercharge your most demanding pro workflows.
Your vibe coding.
Well, you can vibe code all day in style. All new Fusion architecture, state-of-the-art design that connects two dies into a single SoC. Well, really, it just connects two dies. I guess it's magic. It's pure effing magic, as Josh would say. Let's see, 6 super cores.
2.5% or 2.5 times multi-threaded performance than the M1 Pro or M1 Max.
I love that. I love how they always go really far back.
That's reaching at this point.
Only
I'm sorry, that's reaching.
Times higher than Gen 1, and this is Gen 5. I'm guessing this is like a 0.25x increase over M4 Max then.
See, we didn't run those comparisons, so we think you're wrong. We can't prove it. We're pretty sure you're wrong because we didn't run those comparisons.
Well, what's an M4? It's their all-new CPU architecture with 6 super cores and 12 all-new performance cores. So they're doing big little, apparently. They probably already were. I'm just not up on this. I wish Brett were here. He could be explaining why this is actually really good.
He would probably just be talking about the chamfered edges on the die. But
yes. Unified memory bandwidth, 307 gigabytes per second. So the M5 Max has up to 128 gigabytes of unified memory with bandwidth up to 614 gigabytes per second. So that's good. I mean, they're already really fast at the kind of work that people who want hardware acceleration for video. Like it has hardware ProRes, hardware H.264, HEVC, aka H.265, AV1. So if you're a video editor,
because you're paying extra for the H.265 support.
That's baked
unlike
in.
everywhere else that cut it.
The Apple's like, hey, we'll just charge a premium. It's all part of the deal. You buy an Apple product for editing your videos, and it's already got the codec support baked into the chip.
Yeah, I mean, we give them a hard time, but all the M chips have been really fast and really power efficient for what they do.
Yeah, they're 2.5 times as fast as the original.
Oh, yeah, but
it's kind of amazing what happens when you control the entire software stack.
And hardware.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side of things, just talking about phones anyway, there's, of course, iOS, and then there's everyone else in the world who's on Android in some flavor or other. If you go to keepandroidopen.org, it's a very early 1990s looking website here. Android will become a locked down platform and there's a countdown, 180 days, 0 hours, 24 minutes, and it's just counting down continuously. I don't know why I've been seeing so much about this lately. This is not a new announcement. It was announced back in August. People are getting really upset about it because to be a developer, you have to have, among other things, ID verification. The hottest topic in the tech world these days. I think that Android was in the news again because of something else that just happened involving Epic and Tim Sweeney and money. Things are changing quickly with Google because they have settled with Epic Games and they are lowering App Store commissions.
Where's my 30%?
The 30% is gone.
You said that we're getting 30%. No more.
ABC News reports, backed into a legal corner, Google is now prepared to decrease its baseline commissions for subscriptions and e-commerce transactions into the 10 to 20% range while creating a new option that would charge 5% for payment processing. I'm guessing that means, like V-Bucks, that sort of thing. Tim, there was a post on the Epic Games site that just glowing and talking about how Fortnite is coming back to Google Play Store and they're so pleased. They're going to make more money than ever. So yeah, I don't really know how the whole Android isn't open anymore story came up. I put it on there, but I thought it was something new and it's not. So
no, they've been proclaiming the end of Open Android for forever. And I mean, even some of the people that work on Android are trying to close it off, but not official, just quietly.
Just like Intel quietly has a little bit of a leadership shakeup. Although, of course, all this stuff is always public because it's a press release. Their board chair, so in other words, the chairman of the board, has stepped down. Presumably just to retire. Or is it? Can we just read stuff into this? This is not a very exciting story. There's a new chairman of the board at Intel, and his name is Craig Barrett, if that's how Barratt is pronounced.
Yeah, they're pretty happy about Craig being there because, he actually has engineering background as compared to Frank Yeary, who I believe does not. And a lot of external and some internal people I heard from, were really happy that Frank got kicked from that position or decided to step down or whatever. But yeah,
he wants to spend more time with his family.
Well, good for him.
That's what it says. But one interesting thing, I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, but Frank is the one who brought in Lip Bhutan as the CEO. Maybe with a new chairman of the board. We'll see. We'll see how 18A shakes out. 14A.
Yeah, well, things are looking better for Intel right now because they're talking about how some of the AI processing does not run as well on GPUs as it does on CPUs. And so there is an increasing demand on AMD and Intel CPUs, and AMD cannot produce as many, and Intel can. So it's looking a lot shinier for the enterprise for Intel.
Yeah, which is
the next couple of quarters.
The least informed news thing, which is in the elevator on my way up to work, actually at one point mentioned AMD stocks are up today, so it's looking good for this competitor to NVIDIA. Was that a burn or just didn't know?
They don't know.
Like I say, it's one of the least informed. Like my favorite was that there were a bunch of Canadian fishermen blockading the Gulf of Mexico. It was the Bay of Fundy. They just didn't check. They get auto-corrected, and literally that's what they're saying. And with this, yeah, it's not a very good news source. But you're trapped in an elevator. You want to stare at people?
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I get into the elevator, and if I'm by the door, I turn around and stare at all of them in the eye. Just looks lovely. It's amazing.
Well, but that means the present you leave will be pointed at the door.
Yeah, well, sometimes you can't crop dust.
Hey, you can always try.
Just in case we didn't talk about this last week, and I don't remember us doing so, gaming, it's just no longer a priority at Microsoft.
Nope.
Xbox being sunsetted as Microsoft shifts focus to AI, co-founder says. This is a story at Yahoo Finance from today. Their Xbox thing, it's not a priority. I mean, as if you couldn't tell already. The writing has been on the wall for a while. But there's a new CEO of Microsoft Gaming, Asha Sharma.
Yes.
And her job is going to be palliative care doctor who slides Xbox gently into the night. That's a great quote.
It's quite amusing because, I mean, there was also statements when this happened last week where she started out saying that AI has long been a part of gaming and will continue to be, but great stories are created by humans. So this was sort of an attempt to say, hey, we're not really going to focus on short-term efficiency and just flood everything with AI slop. But also in the Ars Technica interview, she mentioned that she's not a gamer. It's just not something that really appealed to her at all. She did then eventually get called on this and sort of backtracked and said, oh, no, the greatest games are like Halo, Valheim, and GoldenEye. Very similar games, and I mean, long enough ago that I'm not sure she was really playing them. At least not GoldenEye.
She did actually use in her interview the term AI slop, which
yes,
I
will appreciate that.
Yeah, and has possibly already been fired for using that.
Yes. No, that's Microsoft. That's Microsoft that gets mad at that. And don't trigger me because I've not had a good day about Microslop.
Yep. Microslop is the one that was banned. But go ahead.
A feel-good story, finally, to get us out of our doldrums. Web scraping bots stealing the last of our RAM and flash. So if you thought you had a chance to swoop in and get any halfway decent deal, forget it, because the majority of traffic flocking to sites that have any kind of, DRAM at any kind of a good price, it's probably a bot leveraging AI tools, harvesting all that RAM and NAND flash.
Yeah. Taylor Swift ain't on tour anymore, so they're not scalping tickets. They're scalping RAM. The best part, the AI part comes in where most of the e-commerce sites depend on AI rules to block traffic coming in that looks a little suspicious and bot-like. And the bots are literally buying, the people providing the bots are literally buying their AI-powered bots from the same company that's providing the protection. And so it's not working out well for us. I'm sure it's working out well for those companies, but it's not working out well for us. So yeah, they are snatching it, every couple of seconds. Did the price change? Did the price change? Did the price hit a certain threshold? Boom, we buy it all. It's gone, which provides a horrendous, self-feeding circle of, hey, look, demand keeps spiking every time price goes just a little tiny bit down. What if we only go down like a little bit less? And the AI bots, of course, evolve and are like, boom, okay, all that's gone. And we see a slow creep up from the artificial demand of these bots buying it up and then reselling it at a ridiculous markup. as all of the LLM companies are buying it up in giant lots and also driving prices up. So yeah, it's a wonderful world.
That was obviously a joke. That wasn't the feel-good story of the week. Here's potentially a better feeling story from videocards.com. Microsoft has a new DirectX feature. This is shader execution reordering. This is coming to shader model 6.9, and it can deliver much higher performance on, your average graphics card, but on an Intel graphics card, the Arc B series, up to 90% higher frame rates versus not using SER. So it's 40% higher on a 4090 in their testing, 90% higher on Arc B series GPUs.
That's interesting.
Shader model 6.9, shader execution.
Shader execution reordering. For the tracing of the rays and the spatulas.
Yeah, look at those. Those are not the right kind of spatula, but I do appreciate.
No, they're not. But I had to bring it up.
And then an odd placement of a Bakelite, radio from the 1950s.
And the fact that things are green on one side and not the other. But hey, we won't bring that up.
Well, that's a green tea kettle.
Teapot. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not all an NVIDIA world. It's only partially. It's only NVIDIA in the corner.
Yeah, Microsoft owns part of the world too.
Yeah.
So you can read all about D3, D12 shader execution reordering over at the DirectX developer blog. I'm sure it's a exciting read. There's documentation. Ooh. Okay, I know that Brett must have added this story. Or maybe Jeremy did, because
I did not, although I have the keyboard.
Yeah, that picture, you have this product. So Drop shutting down this month. They're hitting backspace on their operations. Remember how Corsair, I think, acquired them? Was it Corsair? According to a recent blog post, Drop will no longer operate as a standalone e-commerce store as of March 31st. Existing pre-orders and warranties will still be honored by Corsair.
They bought a few companies lately.
Inexpensive, but they do solid work. You can see the two. I got the Dwarven and the Black Speech. Those are the cases behind me. That's why you can see the map of Middle Earth, because they did a brilliant job on them. But I believe retail, these were north of $260 American. I mean, it is solid aluminium. Like, it's built like a steel brick house. You could defend yourself with this thing, and hey, Lord of the Rings. But yeah, you needed to really be like a certain Nate we used to know who was really, really, really addicted to keyboards. But a good, solid product. And I mean that literally.
Let's move to Insecurity Corner.
Welcome to Insecurity Corner, your weekly reason to drink.
In our first story, Microsoft to auto-launch Copilot in Edge whenever you click a link from Outlook. What could possibly go wrong, Jeremy?
Who saw this coming? The idea that Microsoft would find a way to shoehorn Copilot into yet another one of their own products and upset the system bins that have certain privacy agreements that they need to keep, and we'll need to figure out when this comes into effect and how the hell to block it, or leverage it to make a more productive workforce that can actually get contextual insights and actionable suggestion chips based not only on the contents of the email, but where you are sending it to, because trust Copilot. It knows your client better than you do. Sadly, that might be accurate, because they've probably also suffered the Copilot spying, and Copilot may actually know a lot more about your client than you do. So maybe not a bad idea to take advantage of, apart from, the whole, just don't do it. Don't encourage it. The Reg followed up to say, hey, so our administrator is going to have control over this, going to BOFH, block it. And what happens if Edge isn't the default browser, but because it is so baked into Windows, it does get to look at what your other browsers do occasionally, especially when Copilot's running on them too, and such has not got back to them yet. So yeah, this will be absolutely wonderful. The fact that, an LLM is harvesting every single email that you make, or even a link that you click from Outlook, which, by the way, includes email addresses, because if you haven't noticed, LinkedIn is automatically slurping up data from your Outlook as it is. This will be fine. Don't worry about it at all. It's coming in May. We don't know exactly what day they're going to roll it out, nor when you'll be able to block it. But there can be nothing that goes wrong with this at all. There's no reason that your clients would be upset that Microsoft is snooping around in the private emails you are sending from your corporate email address to their corporate email address. It's fine.
That sounds like sarcasm.
No, I'm very excited about this.
Why do I get the feeling that it's actually going to be Microsoft who releases Skynet and not the military?
I was thinking it was going to be NVIDIA, but
Yeah, no.
I refuse to answer on the grounds that may incriminate me against my current or soon-to-be AI overlords.
What does Brett have to say about this?
He clicked on a link and it crashed his Outlook. He was on the preview version.
All right, let's move on to another uplifting story. California introduces age verification law for all operating systems, including Linux and SteamOS. User age verified during OS account setup. Now, I think there's been a lot of talk over the last few days about how easily this will be circumvented by Linux power users. But, the age verification thing, it's taking over. It's not popular. Every operating system provider in California has to collect age information from users. Can they just type it in? I was born in January 1st, 1900. Yep.
Yeah, no, you gotta give them your license and all your information, and they can scan it and they can put it into a Dropbox that anybody can access, because government, especially California government.
Texas and Utah, on the other hand, are actually demanding government-issued ID checks. Those ones haven't actually become law yet, but are in the chamber being argued right now. I don't understand how you're going to do this against Ubuntu or Debian or anything, because who is it you're going to tell that they have to do this to? That there's no person. Okay, that's it. You're not allowed to download Ubuntu in California or Texas or wherever anymore. Yeah, okay, bud. How are you going to stop me?
They'll also have to make VPNs illegal.
Well, no, but I'm installing an OS. I haven't installed the network drivers yet. How are you? Do you know that I'm installing it?
Be like
you
a
shouldn't make a
shareware
law you can't enforce.
Be like a shareware nag screen. It's you can install it, but until you do an age verification, you can't change your screen resolution, and you can't maximize Windows anymore.
Have they maxed out the occupancy of Sealand yet? I'll go live off the freaking coast of England on a
sadly they probably have, and it's been having some issues lately because, anarchists. But
it's old. Yeah.
Where's our moon colony already? We volunteer to just leave the surface of the planet.
Well, they gave up on that and decided that Mars would be a much more logical choice because...
No, but then Elon had to admit that that's not feasible because they need
it is.
money for SpaceX.
It is very feasible to send Elon to Mars.
Now it's moon again.
Okay. Back to the moon.
Yeah, no, we can literally send Elon to Mars. One way, it's fine. We can totally pull this off.
One of these days, Alice. Bang,
one of these days.
Right to the moon.
Straight to Mars.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And now in a story that will warm everyone's hearts here in the PC Perspective audience. It's a story that bridges the gap between Insecurity Corner and Gaming Quick Hits. And we call it the story that bridges the gap between those two. Star Citizen game dev discloses a breach affecting user data.
It's nice that he calls them still users, because it's not like 14 years
Instead of
after the
suckers?
fact it's been released yet. They're suckers. It was 2012 when he started raking in money and is still, to this day, raking in money. But yes, apparently, don't worry. I am always completely truthful and accurate in my statements that I make on the internet. So it's just, limited personal information like contact deals, username, date of birth, nothing important. And that's totally it. And, 3 years down the road, I'm definitely not going to admit that maybe that was not quite 100% factual. I could have mentioned that he also got access to the credit cards that you've been giving me access to, so I can just harvest money from you for a video game that barely exists.
Well, it's a big game. It exists, but
it does, sort of.
They just have never finished it.
It's in early access after 14 years.
And $100 million plus.
Yeah. Take that, Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy that Half-Life was in, 98, and Half-Life 2 was 2004?
Yep.
And now it's
still
22
hope for
years.
Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
Imagine how much money Gabe In would have raked in if he had put Half-Life 3 on a crowd fund.
I mean, he's already a billionaire, so.
Yeah, well, exactly,
that's what Steam was. Steam was the promise. Oh, don't worry. I'm going to set up this whole gaming front, and you're going to pay me to own games, and you'll just throw me money, and I promise I'll release Half-Life 3 on it exclusively.
I'm glad you brought up Steam, Jeremy, because it perfectly transitions us
I've
into
been
gaming.
trying. I just saw this, and I wanted to do it.
So, how Sony was going to be distributing their games on PC. Put PlayStation games on Steam. It's fine. Then Xbox suddenly decides we're just all in on AI now. We don't need to worry about gaming anymore. I know that there's been rumors that Sony is going to have a handheld again. It's been like a decade since the Vita, so I guess that makes sense. But the Steam OS, the Steam Deck, it's pretty compelling alternative to something like that. And Sony suddenly, with Xbox departure from the market, is not interested in console ports anymore. So they think that releasing their games on the PC could hurt their sales.
Yep.
And they are backpedaling on this PC distribution stuff. And they want console exclusives. You have to learn from Nintendo. Nintendo wants you on their hardware playing games you just can't get anywhere else. The Nintendo only, as I call them. They love their Mario. They love their Zelda. They love their cutesy games. And they
know nothing else.
And you can't get Zelda or Mario anywhere else legally. And if you say you can, you will be taken down.
Our memories are foggy at this point. But Fallout 3 was one of the very first games that had the stealth meter. Not the instant, you're stealthy, nope, you're detected and they're attacking you. There was the little indicator that no, you're about to be detected.
I'm sorry, Thief had that.
Now, guess who also worked on, Thief 2. But anyway. Thief and Thief 2 did. But Emil Pagliarulo, I'm hoping, was one of the guys that brought us this. And so with Thief and Thief 2, argument is specifically a stealth game. It's not an RPG in the same way Fallout or Oblivion or anything was. So it was a specific thing. It was a specific game mechanic. Deus Ex kind of did a little bit of it where it wasn't instant. You had like 2 or 3 seconds to react before the alarm went out, before the person reacted to you. But again, it was instantaneous. You were either stealthy or you're spotted. So he loved that feeling of just that couple of seconds. And he fought tooth and claw with Bethesda to bring this into Fallout 3. And from then on to just about any other game we've played from the RPG, because you're absolutely right, Josh. The thief was the detection meter, but Oblivion was also one where it was just like, no, you're stealthy. Nope, you're spotted. So he had a whole bunch of memories of the original Deus Ex and just certain parts of it that just stuck in his mind. So he wanted to bring that into Fallout 3 and did, with that stealth detection meter and a couple of other, just sort of things that weren't really in the RPG realm that have become standards from now on. And Ars Technica sat down RPS, Rock, Paper, Shotgun, sat down with him and had a little chat. So if you don't have anything else to do and you'd like to read something that's not totally and completely depressing, it's worth a look. He's also the one that came up with the Dark Brotherhood.
Finally,
quick hits. Move on.
Yes. Finally, in gaming quick hits, Valve in legal hot water in New York over loot boxes and gambling. The story from Tech Power Up. So their State Attorney General Lolita James has officially taken Valve to court. So Counter-Strike, Team Fortress, Dota, you can earn and use real money to buy loot boxes. So obviously this cannot be.
Capitalism, not allowed in New York. Crazy.
I mean, if you're foolish enough to pay real money for
skins
in a video game, I mean, I guess. If you're spending money on Star Citizen and that's legal, then how is this bad? I guess. Is supporting Star Citizen illegal in the state of New York? That's the next question.
No. Because it's not technically a gamble, it's an investment.
Oh, okay. I see.
I'm just guessing, but...
Is FanDuel illegal in New York?
Oh,
I don't think it is.
I think they make too much money for that to be illegal.
Don't friggin' bring that up, because you're only allowed to do that in Ontario, and all of Canada has to put up with the ads. Oh, I'd like to sign up. Oh, you don't have a physical address in Ontario. Well, then why?
Too bad.
Are you interrupting my programming with this? Why am I getting lower chyrons of this crap?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that was great. Thank you for another successful Insecurity Coordinator and Gaming Quick Hits portion of our podcast. We're going to move to Picks of the Week. Josh, please get us started.
I'm thinking about eventually getting these here soon, and the price is really not terrible. I mean, yeah, they're clips. Some people really don't like their loaded horn tweeters. But for $150 for a pair of the vertical, the height speakers that you just put those either close to your main speakers or even on top of them, I've seen.
Yes.
But to get the 3D, height sensation for $150 and, you're bouncing them off a ceiling, I guess they sound pretty good. And yeah, it's not horribly expensive. It's less than 16 gigs RAM. And you'll have these for decades. Yeah. So
less than 8 gigs of RAM.
Yeah. I mean, why not? This is, I just gotta eventually get them so that my wife doesn't notice. That could be hard.
Yeah, I got 2 questions.
If there was a speaker on top of your other speakers, would she care?
I don't know. It's been a long time since I last bought a new speaker, so.
Yeah. So
you're gonna ask something,
cones
Jeremy?
Made of? Are the cones made of metal?
They're an alloy of some type.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not just
paper.
fiber.
No.
Which is good because cats. Second off, Alex Antonio 1213. Why do you still have popcorn ceilings? Just no. Get rid of them. Just sand them. Do something. My God, man.
They probably do perfectly fine. Maybe a little muffled, but not too bad.
But no.
All right. Jeremy, your pick. I can't wait for this.
I mean, it's a horrible time. And so I was going to pick something that was a little bit older, but actually not a horrible deal because it was under MSRP. But then I saw this and I just had to share the pain and amusement of an SSD, which is technically thousands of dollars cheaper than it would be normally. It is an entire $1,855 off. And it still costs $3,035. It is a Western Black SN850X 8 terabyte. So, honestly, this is not a horrible deal if you need storage. But it is a horrible deal. This is not that
horrible of a deal.
It is.
If you need this much storage, get 2 4-terabyte drives. And spend half as much.
No. But then I'll have to I'll have to balance them. It just
you need RAID 0.
Sorry, I saw this and I started laughing and crying at the same time.
JBOD,
and I
just
had to share it.
Yeah,
of course, that is Canadian. That is Canadian dollars.
So $1,200 US. So
Oh,
yes, it is
I was
Canadian.
just going to say 12, but yeah.
Oh,
no, it's probably more like 18. But 30, still, I mean,
34.
It's what a wild. That
is $2,222 in the US.
You know what I know? That's not 10 cents a gig.
It's a little above that. I agree.
It's about 40 cents a gig. A little under, but yeah, it's my God. But just think, if you can afford it right now and you can hold on to it for 12 months,
it'll be worth half as much.
You will live like a king. It'll be worth $40,000.
Okay. Well, yeah. At this rate of growth,
trust me on this.
Yes, it's not like it could ever come down.
Flash memory is not going down.
Okay.
There is no way that RAM is getting cheaper or flash memory is getting cheaper over this year. This will only get more expensive. It's just, my God, what the heck? Why is an SSD almost $1,900 off, and why is it still over $3,000?
Thank you. Those are questions without answers.
But stop the world. I want to get off.
Okay. Well,
so angry.
Your off-world colony awaits. Next, Brett has a pick, and I will give it for him because he's not here. Accessories for less. They've been offering great prices and service since 1997, and this is not an ad. It's just our regular reminder. Go there because they are the official refurbished store of Marantz, Denon, Bowers & Wilkins, Yamaha, KEF, Definitive Technology, Focal, Polk Audio, Ethereal, and Klipsch. Josh was just talking about Klipsch.
Klipsch.
And if you want
some of the speakers are cheaper.
Dough. Let's look at this. Home theater speakers. What speakers are separate category? Okay. Atmos speakers. Definitive Technology. Okay. KEF.
Vertical
speakers. Some of these are pretty pricey. These are the higher end ones. So yeah, that deal that Josh showed you was still a better deal than these by price anyway, because there's different degrees. Let's see what they have in the 2-channel stereo world right now. Do they have one of those outstanding Yamahas? Yes, they do. Here's an RN1000A, fantastic unit. I wish it was cheaper. I wish I could tell you this was like $700, but it's $1,200. But I've heard one of these at my local audio shop, and it sounded far better than it had any right to. I did not buy it, but I'm considering it.
Your wife is happy that you haven't done that yet.
Yeah. So I went into the little showroom and the guy's like, you got to hear this. You got to hear this. Okay. And I'm like, all right, I admit that is really good, but I don't need it.
And that's when he revealed that he wasn't using wires. He was just using lard.
And then he revealed that it was actually just an
bananas.
iPhone 7.
Yeah, I had a kind of an experience like that back in the day. It was near New England Audio Research that they had the boom and the spinnaker and all these, nautical, the maritime named speakers that they were awesome. And, they were relatively low wattage. So they had like a 25 per channel amp and attached to these speakers, and they turn them on and it just would be room filling, tight, awesome bass, just amazing. But they were very expensive, and they no longer do these type of speakers. I think they like shrunk and do extra outside audio, and that's it. Very sad.
That must be about 25 or so years ago. I used to drink with a Bang & Olufsen salesman. Yeah, they did have some really good ones, but they also had a lot of crap they sold you for really ridiculous prices.
Yes. Oh, speaking of ridiculous prices, computer components, guys. I mean, come on. They're too expensive.
Am I right?
Is there a
that.
better way, Kent?
Yes. There are still pre-builts out there that were constructed prior to the madness that is upon us now. And I've sort of been going back and forth between Micro Center and Best Buy, showing a few of these examples the last few weeks. This week it's Best Buy's turn. This is an iBuyPower. You can get it at Best Buy. You might be able to order it on iBuyPower, but if you've got a Best Buy nearby, this has got a 9800X3D, 9070 XT, 16 gig, 32 gigs of RAM,
It's this next
2 terabyte
32
SSD.
gigs.
What?
32 gigs of DDR5? My God, man.
And a 2 terabyte NVMe SSD. $2,099 pre-built. Hey, and you even get an e-waste keyboard and mouse so you can boot it up until you get something better.
Brilliant.
Damn.
And it isn't just one DIMM. It appears to be two. And that's nice.
Yep.
Actually, not a bad
picture shown in this commercial may not reflect the actual product you receive.
I hope it does, because honestly, sometimes the iBuyPower stuff, when I go into Best Buy, it's not that bad. Like here you have just like a classic, inexpensive
Cooler Master Hyper 212 type.
It looks like a 212.
Yeah.
And, some RGB fans, tempered glass side panel. It's not bad. Here's some customer images of it.
They're usually loud, but,
hey,
who cares?
That's 2 DIMMs.
Yeah, it looks like it's got an AIO in it, according to the customer images. And
it does appear to. Yes, it's on the front.
Yeah, that's and 2 DIMMs for sure. Okay.
Yeah. So
in 6 months, you can resell the DIMMs for the price you paid for the computer.
Exactly. I mean, the RAM alone is a quarter the price of the whole system.
And and I've mentioned this on some of these other pre-builts that I've picked. If you don't need a full system, or if you just want a few of the components, you can probably resell it. If you don't like the case, get a different case and rebuild in a different one. Yeah, you're creating a little waste there, but hell, sell the case on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, or send it to Sebastian. He collects them.
No. Well, thank you for that pick. And because I did Brett's pick for him, I'm not going to do one of my own.
Oh, good for you.
Anyway. Yeah.
So I'm shocked.
We're going to end the podcast. It's time for some soft jazz music as we slow things down. This is the official outro segment. There's a chapter that actually says outro in YouTube. And It's the end. I mean, it was a shorter show because we had fewer people, so there was less talking.
Less talking.
You're saying Brett's good for a good 40 minutes or so then?
I don't know. I think he's good for at least 20 extra minutes.
There was an Apple story, actually 2 Apple stories. So,
but with Brett, it would have been like 5 because they had a whole bunch of press releases today. We didn't go through all of them because Brett wasn't here. So that's fine. Apple MacBook Neo. Go out and buy one immediately. $600. And worse performance than a used machine at half the cost from several years ago.
And the RAM soldered on so you can't harvest it. Sorry.
Oh, absolutely not. No. Like Josh said, it's just a phone in a clamshell.
Yeah.
Clamshell phone. That's an idea.
Wait.
All right. Good night, everybody.